Hi, today I'm gonna show you how to knit this double neck and hem curled all stitch dog sweater. Let's get started. First of all, please check my description box for all the details, including a written pattern. Today's project is super easy, very basic, so I'm not going to tell you every single detail. I would like to focus on talking about double neck and double hem. As you can see, there is double neck there and curled up. That's because I use only knit stitch. If you do only knit stitch, edge curled, and I really like that texture. So I use that texture for neck and hem. Also, this is completely seamless. The way you make the double neck and double hem are a little bit different, but both are easy. And in between, after the neck, it's all same. It's all same. Increase in the chest towards to the leg opening, leash opening, it's all same. I will tell you, but not super detailed. All right? But it covers pretty much everything, so don't worry about it. Now I want to talk about design on the back. This is not Fair Isle stitch. This called duplicate stitch technique. Fair Isle in round knitting, you have to carry two yarn all the way around. So design has to be all the way around like this. And the back of the project is like that because you carry the yarn. But if I want to, make just one logo on the back like that, you have to knit in flat. If this is flat project, you just knit and then turn around and carry both yarn. You can do it. But my case, I'm knitting in round. This is the reason why I use duplicate stitch. Some people probably ask me why not intarsia technique. Well, that's because there's too much space, which means I have to add lots of, different ball of yarn. Intarsia is good for one solid logo or shape, maybe only one color. If there's lots of space like mine, intarsia is not good. Anyway, duplicate stitch is pretty much same as the cross stitch. Have you ever done the cross stitch? The difference is this time V shape, not the cross shape. And back of the design will be very simple compared to Fair Isle, just like that. Anyway, I will talk about it later. Cast on any number you want. I made 70 cast. This is for my 10-pound YORKIE. And I use second color first because this second color neck going to be inside of the main color and has to be a little bit longer than main color neck. So I would like to knit second color first. After the cast, you will connect both ends. I am going to use magic loop technique because I don't have perfect length of the cable. if you have perfect length of the cable, you don't need to do the magic loop. If you never done magic loop, I put the link in my description box as well. So again, this is going to be all knit dog sweater. So all knit. Just knit until your desired length. So I put the beginning marker and start knitting. That's about it. And whenever you hit the your desired length, you have to stop. Then with the second set of the needle, you will start knitting with main color. Again, this second color yarn of the neck goes inside of the main color and has to be longer than main color neck, which means you have to count how many rows you're knitting. And first few rows, it doesn't show curled up, but don't worry about it, it will curl. So just keep knitting until your desired length. Now both done. The purple one, the second color one, I made 20 rows. Then main color, green, 16 rows. Has to be 4 or 5 rows less. Again, second color goes inside and longer. It's obvious because if it's outside neck is longer than inside one, you can't really see second one, right? So that's very obvious. And I didn't, cast that off or anything. Still, needles are in, and I don't need the second color yarn, so I cut the yarn. And now we will attach both of them. Again, purple one, the second color one, goes inside, both facing up. There we go. Make sure about it, which is inside and which is outside. And then you will knit two together. One with the green and one with the purple. Knit two together to connect those two. This is how you make the double neck. It's a little bit different than double hem. There we go. Knit two together and using main color. And you do knit two together around to connect. And obviously both same cast, so should be matched. If you made the cast with the different number, it's going to be different story. So has to be identical, just different rows. There we go. This is the end of connecting two together. Once you're done, the second color needle, you don't need it, but you will need one more set of the needle at the end for the double hem. There you go. It's done. Just leave the needle alone. Next row, all knit. Again, it's all knit stitch, so it's obvious. Next row, you will add markers, begin marker and mid stitch marker and all that. All right, so let's start. Put the begin marker first, knit one. Then the first mid stitch marker, then knit one. and place the second mid-stitch marker. After that, on it. And I also add side marker and leash opening marker as well. It's really up to you. Here's the thing. That's begin marker, orange one. And the mid stitch is in the middle of chest. That stitch is always one stitch. Right there. Okay, always one stitch. If you increase in between those markers, you did something wrong. And then slowly increase towards to leg opening. Once you hit the leg opening, increasing is done. So that's what you just did. So whenever you count, you always have to count from mid stitch. Okay? So if you want to put the side marker, count evenly from mid stitch. But with this pattern, you don't really need the side, stitch to divide by front piece and back piece, really. But it's really up to you. Again, I also add side marker, which divides front and back, and leash opening marker. Actually, you can create leash opening anytime you want, anywhere you want. Looking at my old sweater, this is very complicated, the cable design. This is the reason why I made the leash opening right after the neck, so it doesn't really bother my design. I could make leash opening in between designs, but there's a bubble and all kinds of the cable knitting, so I decide to create the opening at the end of the neck. But this time maybe a little later. Okay, so increasing row number 1. This is same as every single my dog sweater. Okay, so increasing slowly towards to leg opening. Once you hit the top of dog leg, you stop increasing. There you go. Increasing row number 1. Knit until first marker. So this time there's only one stitch, so knit 1. Then make 1 right. This is right side of the marker, so using that thread, running thread, and picking up the thread from back like that with left needle, then knit front loop. This is make 1 right. Then slide the marker, knit 1. Again, mid stitch has to be 1 stitch always, and slide the marker and make 1 left with that running thread, picking up from front this time with left needle like that, and use back loop to knit. There you go. This is make 1 left. And after that, just on knit until begin marker. So just outside of the markers, make 1 right and make 1 left. Right there. And increasing row number 2 on knit. And you just have to repeat increasing row number 1 and row number 2 until dog's top of the leg opening. That's about it. Now I want to talk about leash opening. Whenever you decide you want to create the leash opening, bind off. Okay, for me, 11 stitch. And you really have to be careful here. In between leash opening marker, there's 11 stitch. I want to bind off 11 stitch. So this is first one, bind off. Second, third, and you just bind off until you hit the marker, which means there's only 10 bind off you made. You need one more stitch to, bind off to make 11 bind off. So this is actually 10th bind off. And there's only one stitch left before the marker. That's the one you have to bind off. So remove the marker and knit one more, then 11 bind off. And make sure about this because it affects the count. And this is same as leg opening as well. So you really have to be careful about that one last bind off. And round 2 of leash opening is just add new cast. Here comes no more stitch, right? Because you bind off in previous row. So you add new cast, same number as you bind off. I bind off 11 stitch in previous row, so I'm adding 11 new cast. And adding new cast is super easy. There you go. Did I add 11? Maybe not. Okay, one more. Then after that, you just keep knitting. Just nothing happened. And knit, knit, knit. And again, that's the back of the sweater. Front piece, you still have to deal with the increase in row probably because not the leg opening is not starting yet. Okay. After this, I would like to talk about the leg opening. Again, this is same as other, basic dog sweater. If you want to know more detail, you should watch my step-by-step video. And let's talk about the leg opening. I knit enough for chest increasing. And this is the leg opening. I add the markers. As you can see, you have to count from mid stitch evenly, right and left. And then, I put the yellow marker and red marker. And the method is same as leash opening. And as you can see, the begin marker is in between yellow marker right there. So this is what I'm going to do. Pass yellow marker leg opening first. I'm not going to do anything. Just knit until red marker, which is left side of the leg. You bind off left side first. And you knit around, come around, then you do bind off for yellow part. You know what I'm saying? Red left side first, come back, and then do the right legs. So let's start. Just knit. The green marker is side marker, which I didn't really need. And here comes the yellow marker, which is right side of the leg, but I'm gonna ignore. There we go. I just knit. I didn't bind off there, right? And I came all the way down to the red marker, which is left leg side. Then I am going to start binding off for left leg. And again, this is same as leash opening. So I'm not gonna tell you everything here. You just come around and do same thing. And I'm just making sure that last one stitch you have to bind off, you have to be very careful. By the way, some people ask me, when should I stop increasing? And when should I create the leg opening? It's really up to your dog. Now I want to talk about the begin marker in right side of the leg. I remove the begin marker, but make sure how many stitch left, because you have to put the begin marker back on. You know what I'm saying? Because next round you add new cast and then you just start knitting, nothing happened, right? Which means you have to put the begin marker where it's supposed to be. So this is very important. After you remove the begin marker, you count. It doesn't really have to be so accurate, but if it's easy enough, you can do that too, right? So I bind off both legs. So now you go to the left leg side and there's gonna be no more stitch. And just like leash opening, you will add new cast. I bind off 16 stitch in previous row, so I am going to add 16 new cast. And you know how you add the new cast with the one finger. I use usually digital finger. Some people use thumb. It's really up to you. And just pick up the stitch like that. That's the new cast. And again, I bind off 16, so I add 16. Then after the leg opening has done, just keep knitting until tummy length is long enough. You want to make the tummy length a lot shorter than back part because they need to pee and you don't want to get sweater dirty. And I usually put sweater on my dog whenever I make the leg opening like that to make sure everything is perfectly fit or not. Here comes. I kept knitting. For the chest part, I believe I have 3-inch, and after the chest increase, about over 5-inch, and this is the time I want to stop knitting for tummy. So I add markers. The right side orange marker is begin marker, and then the other side you count exactly same number, right? And add one more orange marker. That's gotta be tummy marker. And this time I'm not gonna bind off. You will transfer all the tummy stitch onto stitch holder. You will reconnect everything back again after you finish back piece. That's why I don't want to bind off. The transfer tummy stitch, that'll be best, so you don't really have to worry about picking up the stitch again, right? And this is actually up to you. If you don't have the stitch holder, you can use the scrap yarn as well. By the way, I kept the mid stitch marker onto the stitch holder as well this time. There's no meaning. I thought maybe, I need to count the stitch from the mid stitch. That's the only reason I kept the marker. It's really up to you. If you like, you want to knit across the tummy stitch and then transfer the tummy stitch as well from the other way. The only difference is where the working yarn. My way, working yarn is at the right side, which means you gotta knit on the wrong side. If you knit across, you gotta start on right side. That's the only difference. Anyway, here's my old sweater. I knitted it, and the tummy stitch is right there. And as you can see, the back part is longer than, the front piece. And then goes towards to the back piece. I decrease some stitch right there, both side, obviously. You don't want to, go straight, 90-degree angle dog sweater. So I am going to decrease some stitch on both side only for right side. So if you're knitting wrong side, just all purl. Just all purl. You're not decreasing on wrong side. So purl until the other side and then start decreasing. So meet you on the right side. It's super easy. Every row of the right side until your desired length, you decrease one stitch this side and one stitch the other side. That's about it. So in one row, you decrease total of 2 stitch. So this side, right side, knit 1 to start, and SSK, which is slip, slip, knit. There you go. I decrease 1 stitch right there. And then just knit all the way down until last 3 stitch, and the other side you will make knit 2 together and knit 1. There you go. This is end of the right side. 3 left, and knit 2 together first and knit 1. And again, wrong side is all purl, and you will repeat right side decreasing method and wrong side all purl until you hit the desired length for back. Okay, I knit until my desired length for back, which is just a little over 10-inch from bottom of the neck. And when I flip, there we go. That's how it looks. I actually knit quite long. Now I want to reconnect everything, right? But as you can see, my working yarn is at the right side, so I am going to knit right side again until the other side. So this is gonna be the last decreasing row. So I just did the SSK and knit across until 3 stitch left, then knit 2 together and knit 1 over there. And this is the end of the last decreasing. I'm making knit 2 together there and then knit 1. Then let's reconnect everything. So on the side, as you can see, there's no stitch, So why don't we pick up the stitch on the side, and please make sure you're picking up the stitch right on the edge. Also, please count, and you will not picking up too many stitch or too less stitch. Very evenly you should pick up the stitch, and make sure count because you have the other side as well, and you want to pick up the same number stitch. It doesn't really have to be accurate. Close number is okay. I'm picking up every other row. It's really up to you, but if it's too many stitch in there, it's gonna be kind of jammed, kind of flare type of the wavy result later on. So the key is don't pick up too many and don't pick up too less. And anyway, right now with the other side of the needle, I'm actually getting ready for the tummy stitch. Transfer all the tummy stitch back onto the other side of the needle because you will ended up knit and reconnect. That's very obvious. So, and I'm still, keeping the mid stitch marker for just in case. And I don't think you need it, but it's really up to you. By the way, if you want to have same length front and back, you can do that too. Okay, you can skip all this. Whenever you hit the your desired length for tummy, you can stop right there, and then you start making the hem too. This is complete customized dog sweater. Even they're same, the breed, the shapes are all different. Sometimes, the very thick neck, sometimes, the longer body. My Yorkie is quite big, almost 11 pound. So, Yorkie usually much smaller, right? So it's really up to the dog. Okay? So you gotta do the other side to finish connecting. There you go. So I finish. Now it's connect back. So I will knit one round because on the side it's a little bit, awkward. So I'm gonna knit one round with main color. For me, it's green, as you can see. Now let's talk about double hem at the bottom. Okay? You use second color as well. You need two yarn and you just start knitting with two different color of yarn like that. That's about it for now. There we go. Just knit with two yarn. Again, I told you double neck and double hem is a little bit different way to do it because I like to have seamless. There we go. Just one round. Here comes. I knit a round with two yarn. Now you need one more set of needle and you're picking up the second color of the stitch. Separate each color with each needle, and second color should be inside. Okay, the metal needle for green yarn and wood needle, actually bamboo needle, has to be second color and inside. All right, so let's take a look first. Begin marker for just in case, but anyway, picking up the green with metal and bamboo needle, picking up the purple, and second color has to be inside, like that. Okay, picking up the green with metal and purple with bamboo, just like that. At the very beginning, it's kind of awkward, but once you picking up maybe more stitch, it's gonna be stable. So just take your time. Don't drop the stitch off. There we go. And sometimes, purple first, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure, the green for metal and, purple for bamboo for me. If you are using, same type of the needle, you gotta be very careful. There we go. So just take your time. And if you need, pull the needle like that. Yeah, if that's easier for you, it's really up to you. You just have to pick up the every single stitch. There you go. Yeah, I think I'm getting used to because it's, halfway, so the needle is more stable. There you go. And the other side of the needle, you have to be careful too. Don't pull way too, hard. Right? There you go. Purple. It looks kind of, awkward, but I was actually having quite fun. If you don't like doing this and then you don't care about the seamless, you can knit, the bottom part first and then you can sew them together. But I'm seriously lazy and I really like this way. So again, it's really up to you. Anyway, once you separate all the stitch with two needle, you just have to knit after that. But again, the purple, the second color first, because second color has to be longer than main, which is bamboo, the needle one. So the other needle, just make them rest for a little while, just forget about it. And then you will use bamboo needle to knit second color. And again, you gotta be very careful. Don't pull wrong, the needle and drop off the stitch or something, right? So make sure about it. If you have two different type of the needle, that will be best. After this, just knit until you hit the desired length. Again, the second color, which is inside, is longer than main color. So you have to knit until your desired length and make sure you have to count because again, the main color, you have to knit 4 or 5 rows less than second color to make them, double, right? If it's same length, you cover the second color, yarn, so you can't really see as a double, right? So please count. Again, first few rows, it's little bit tough to knit because main color stitch is so close, so it's a little bit tight feeling, but just be careful, take your time. And I knit 15 rows with the second color, and that's enough. So I am going to cast off. After the cast off around, I'm gonna start knitting with main color. And again, to create the double hem has to be 4 or 5 rows less than second color. And by the way, I cut the green yarn, the earlier, because it was all tangled, and you know that's okay. You just tied again, and then start knitting. That's you know no problem. Okay, there you go. So I don't really have to tell you again, right? Just knit around and around, and then cast off. That's about it. This dog sweater was quite easy, I believe, except the, double bottom hem, to separate the two stitch with two needle. Maybe that was a little bit awkward, but other than that, you know, it was quite easy, I believe, right? And anyway, after you knit, cast off, and then weave the ends off. And I just want to tell you one thing. If you want to, weave ends off, please do inside of the curl so you don't really see, right? That's all. You have to be very careful because I usually weave ends off on the wrong side, but if you do that on wrong side, it's showing, right? So has to be inside of the curl, which is right side, but it won't show because it's curled up. All right. And anyway, after this, I want to talk about duplicate stitch a little bit. I'm not going to tell you every little stitch, go through my design because it's all same technique. If you don't need, any design on the back, this is it. You can stop right there, but you can add, design. That's actually beauty of the duplicate stitch. You can, finish sweater like this, and then maybe a week later, maybe I want to, add design. So there you go. You can add the, design later on. That's the beauty. You can't do that with the fair isle or intarsia stitch, right? So that's how it look on my doggy. Looks beautiful. And my dog is so cute. That's the double neck and double hem bottom. I like it a lot. And, the tummy area is a lot shorter than back piece. His name is Wasabi. That's why I was using wasabi color. Let's talk about duplicate stitch. The cable needle, I pick up the one stitch. Okay, you don't really have to do that. I kind of want to show you how to do it. So, that's the stitch I want to make duplicate stitch. So end of the V shape, that target stitch, you put the yarn like that, come through from inside. The stitch with the cable needle That's the stitch I want to, create the duplicate stitch. I'm sorry, it's really hard to see. And anyway, skip that target stitch and one above. You put the needle through like that and pull. Don't pull too hard. There we go. The yarn goes on top of the one side of the stitch and put the needle back on same spot. Then pull nice and soft. There we go. You now make V shape. This is the duplicate stitch. So if you pick the design, you just have to follow that design to create the duplicate stitch. So I'm going to make duplicate stitch one above. So the target stitch at the bottom of the target stitch, that's the one. Skip one, skip the target stitch one above and pull the needle through underneath those two, stitch. I mean, the legs or whatever. There we go. I pulled a little too hard and needle back to where you came from. Then create both, stitch. There you go. It was a little bit hard to see, so I will tell you with the different material, so you can understand a little bit better. But you probably, get it. Okay, this is the practice material. The cable needle, that's the stitch, I want to make the duplicate. And you don't really have to, put the cable needle like that. I just want to make it clear. Okay, so those two V shape, I want to make the duplicate stitch right there. So at the bottom of the target stitch, you pull the needle through from the back side and then skip the target stitch and just one above the target stitch, you put the needle like that and then pull the needle. That creates right side of the leg duplicate. There you go. And just like that. And don't pull too hard. And then go back where you came from top to bottom, like that. There you go. Now you have a cable needle, so it looks a little bit different, but just kind of snaggle. Yeah, there you go. V shape. And now one above the duplicate stitch, I want to make one more. So bottom of the target, the stitch, put the needle from the bottom or back, and that stitch I want to make duplicate. So skip the target stitch and one above, you put the needle like that and push back the needle in. There you go. That's it. Okay, let's do that one more time. One above. You already figured it out by now. At the bottom of the target stitch, you put the needle in from behind. Then skip the target stitch and one above, you put the needle in from right to left and pull. Then put the needle back in where you came from. And there we go. That's it. And then if you want to go next, stitch, not the one above, the one on your left or right. you can do that. You don't have to cut the yarn or anything. You just keep, doing just to change the row or, stitch. There you go. The next one. That's the one, I want to, make the duplicate stitch. So at the bottom of the target stitch, pull the needle and skip the target stitch and one above the needle from right to left. Well, you can do left to right, it doesn't really matter. I'm a right hand side, so right to left is easier for me. There we go. That's about it. And again, the design, you can Google it, anything you want. And you just count how many, the rows you need, kind of thing. And make sure you have enough stitch on your back. And then you can start from anywhere. You can, use any color you want. That's about it. Enjoy knitting!